Sadiq Khan has said whilst he agrees that action needs to be taken, this isn't the right way to go about it. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson described the protesters as a bunch of crusties smelling of hemp and said that Margaret Thatcher was one of the first world leaders to take climate change seriously long before Greta Thunberg was even born. But whatever your opinion, for the time being, it looks like Extinction Rebellion is here to stay. Just in case you needed any more evidence that Boris Johnson is an utter prick, he gives his assessment of a global movement to tackle catastrophic climate change. They're all a bunch of crusties. Taking another leaf out of the Donald Trump's Guide to Leadership book. I see. The fact that Thatcher was talking about climate change 30 years ago and the planet is still boiling itself to death kind of proves the point that all these crusties are making. If any politician comes out and says, we know there's a problem, but this isn't the way to tackle it, the question is, what would you suggest? A strongly worded email? You actually start doing something and these people might stop supergluing themselves to shit. Yes, saying you're aware of the crisis and then doing nothing about it makes you a pretty vile human being and a fucking useless politician. Last time, Extinction Rebellion got the government to declare a climate emergency, okay? This time they're asking what it intends to do about it. It's a pretty reasonable question. This sort of thing works. Saying you will no longer patronise the RSC if they keep taking money from big oil companies, it works. Yeah, fuck you BP, get out of my theatre, out of my art galleries and out of my fucking Arctic Circle. Although I have a sneaking suspicion that that had more to do with students trying to get out of having to sit through Henry the fucking Fifth. So, here I am, to do what the media does best, whether it be the Daily Mail pointing out that it's just a bunch of crusties in need of a job and a shower, or the fucking Guardian, who have taken great pains to point out that Extinction Rebellion is too middle class and, wait for it, too white. So if the Guardian had its way, only people on job seekers allowance should get involved in climate action and everyone else should either shut up or black up. This is how the Guardian thinks the world should work. Wankers. Even though XR state you can't tackle climate change if you don't have a fair society based on equality. So anyway, like everyone else, including the Guardian, I am here to report on who is protesting rather than what they're protesting about. Not looking at the purpose of the protest, just how disruptive it is. Okay, I'll tell you what else is pretty disruptive. Mass failure of entire ecosystems and failure of entire weather systems, mass flooding, mass crop failure, mass starvation and mass human migration. Yeah, but the fucking traffic's backed up to Charing Cross. Dicks. What? What, they're all a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, well, I'm a hypocrite. For once, Tim, I am in complete agreement with you. Seriously, I am a hypocrite. Whilst I am terrified that the world appears to be breathing its last, I also love eating steak with out-of-season vegetables flown in from South Africa wrapped in unrecyclable plastic. And I drive a car. And if Greta is right, which she is, and we only have 8.5 years to almost entirely stop global emissions before we reach a tipping point towards a global climate catastrophe, then me using eco-friendly dishwasher tablets whilst planning next year's holiday to Australia seems pretty nonsensical. So if I sound like a hypocrite, that's because I am one. But shall I tell you what you sound like when you say that they're all a bunch of hypocrites? You sound like a fucking arsehole. Okay, when you take the piss out of people protesting about loss of biodiversity a week after a report comes out saying 1/3 of all mammals in the UK are about to become extinct, who needs fucking otters anyway? When you deny science and sit there with your arms crossed, getting angry at an autistic teenager, how dare Greta tell me I ruined her childhood? You sound like a small little man. Shouting I hate you is what teenagers do. At least she hates us because we've knowingly fucked an entire planet up the arse, and not because we've told her to turn that fucking racket down. You sound like a contrary, wannabe, edgy prick. Fucking arseholes trying to save the planet. They can't even hold a fucking fire hose properly. Ha 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 ha. You sound like a nasty human being. Yes, I'm a hypocrite. Well done. You've nailed it. Hypocrisy is at the very heart of the climate crisis. You will contribute to the problem. It's undeniable. You are a hypocrite if you try and do something about the climate crisis because your existence contributes to it. But if you do nothing, you are an arsehole. Pointing out the hypocrisy of the movement whilst allowing the rainforest to burn is a really shitty way to behave. For once, ignore the hypocrisy of those trying to do something and instead turn your ire towards those that do nothing. Why not point out the hypocrisy of Boris Johnson, who won't be photographed with a disposable coffee cup because it's not a good look, and who declares that the climate change is a real thing and then ridicules those people who are willing to give up their civil liberties to push for change? It's up to you, Tim. You have a choice. Are you going to be one of the contrary little twats like Boris, or are you going to be a decent human being and do what you can? Because I've made my choice. Okay, are we done? Are we done? Right, where's the fucking super glue? Because I'm off. I'm off to save the fucking planet. Okay, fuck it. I'm off.